Hello there everyone, my name's Jan from JB Crafts and welcome back to my next tutorial. I have a really pretty one today for you, very much my style of crafting, and I've gone down the sort of shabby chic route to date, and we're going to make a set of tags for decoration purposes, and then I have a video that will follow this one showing you what I'm going to do with the tags, how I'm going to use them. I like making tags, but people often say, well, what do you do with them, Jan, when you've made them? You know, it's not like making a card that you can send to someone. So I'm going to film the making of the tags today, and then the following video that follows it up will actually give you an idea for a home decor piece that you can display the tags and have sort of somewhere in your home. So I hope you like it. It's very straightforward, lots of layering again, touching on mixed media. We've got lots of different elements in here, including some lace in the background, some cheesecloth, some metal. We've got the beads, we've got the twine, we've got the paper flowers. So yeah, lots of different mediums, which is what mixed media is all about. And I wanted that kind of shabby chic look to it with those sort of creams, pinks, little touch of gold here and there. So we'll get into the tutorial. I'll show you how I put it together. It's not too difficult, I must admit. I'm just going to plug my my hot glue in. I've just realised I didn't plug that in. So yeah, let's get started. So I'm going to pop that over to one side and bring in the product that I used for my tags to start off with is a Creative Expression set of dies, and these are quite a go-to. I reach for these quite a lot. They're called Shabby Basics Tattered Tags. I've had them a little while now. I don't know whether they're still available, by one of their designers, Sampool, and I've used the largest tag for the background here, and then the next size down for the second tag, and I'll show you. I've already done the second tag because I didn't want the video to be too long in time wise. So what I've done is I've taken that largest tag and I've cut this out of, first of all, some cream card. You can see there how that fits on nicely. And then I also cut it a second time in some grey board. And this is what I keep off the back of my paper pads. I just keep it all together, and it's great for this kind of purpose. So I've cut it twice in my Gemini, pop them together with a little bit of adhesive, and then I've been around the edge of it with a little bit of Distress ink in Vintage Photo, just to age it and give it that sort of you know, sort of shabby feel to it. And one of the nicest things about these, and you can actually pick it up on the video, is they've got that lovely sort of torn edge around them, so it gives you that feel straight away that you've got a distressed look going on. You've also got the little dies to make the hole reinforcers here, so I've made one of these ready to pop on towards the end of the make, just to tidy everything up. So that was my die set. I'm just going to pop those down there out of the way, and then I've brought in a couple of layers of pattern paper just to get us going. So the first one is just a wood grain paper, and this measures 6 by 4 inches, I think it was. Let me just double check that for you. I think, or was it 3? Yeah, 3. Sorry, 6 by 3 inches. And what I've done is I've just shaped the corners to match the tag. And then I've been round the whole thing with my little distressing tool and just again roughened up those edges to make that sort of distressed look. And I've been around it again with that Vintage Photo ink and my ink applicator there. So this is going to lay straight over the top here. And I think what we'll do is we'll get that one stuck down. Just before I do that, I want to add a little bit more decoration to it. So I'm just going to bring in some washi tape, and we're just going to go across here at an angle to create a little bit more interest for the overall piece. So this is all about that layering technique again. So I'm just going to pop this across the bottom here. I've left about just under an inch at the bottom, and then I'm going to wrap this around the back of the tag just to seal it, and then we can get that piece stuck down on our project. So like so. So we're going to have a lot of vertical detail again, and then some horizontal pieces. So just for the paper onto the cardstock, I'm actually going to use my all-purpose glue there. So just clear that nozzle. And this one can go straight onto the actual base of our tag. Then I'm going to bring in another layer of pattern paper to complement this one. So that one's just left a tiny, tiny, tiny little border of that cream around the edge to start that layering process. We'll leave that one like so, and I'm just going to pop that out of the way for a second with my block on it just to let that glue seal. And then the next layer is sort of a layer of two parts. I've brought in some more pattern paper, so this is just a pink pattern to complement the one that I've used with the wood grain. And again, cut this slightly smaller, so this is 5 3/4 and it was 2 3/4, but I decided I didn't want to cover the whole set of layers, so I've torn it to reveal that lovely white edge on the paper. And then I've also been around the edge of this one, the rest of the straight edges, with my little distressing tool. And I'm not going to ink this one. I want to leave this one as it is to work with. We're going to do a couple of things to this one before we actually pop it onto the tag itself. So the next item I'm going to bring in, the next product that I used, was from a Crafter's Companion collection called Vintage Rose. And it is a set of pre-cut lace borders which look like this. So you get a set of those in here, and I've just taken one of them out, but I didn't want the harsh white against what I was working with. So I've actually coloured a little bit of it. You can just see there, if I hold it against the pink, you can just see I've just coloured a little bit of it, and I've just used my antique linen distressing with an applicator to actually pop that colour on there, just to bring it more into a tone that matches the project. And then we're going to snip some of these pieces out and pop them behind here before we adhere this to our tag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip into this. I don't need to waste all of it. So first of all, I'm just going to cut it all the way up this detail here. And again, I can save that back piece then, because I don't need the whole depth of this hidden under that pattern paper. So this bit can go back in the packet for future use. And then I'm just going to snip it along here, save all the pieces, and then I want to take that end piece off here as well. And I'll show you where I've used that little piece when we come to the other tag. So again, I'm just going to separate this, and it's all about sort of maximising your product. I want to pop a piece of this behind here, like so. But we're going to have a lot of detail. If I bring that tag back in, there's an awful lot going on the middle that's going to cover it up. You can just see a little bit of this popping out at the top here, and then the piece at the bottom. So why waste it under that middle section there? So I'm just going to take my tacky glue, and I'm going to pop a little bit of glue along that back edge there. And we're just going to secure this underneath that pink layer. So I'm going to go with one piece towards the top here, like so. And I just want a little bit of it poking out. And then I'm going to do the same with the second piece here. And we're going to fasten that one nearer to the bottom of the design. So this one's going to go a bit lower down, not quite at the bottom. About there, I think will work. And just make sure that that's sealed. And then we can actually add this to our tag. So that should be nice and secure now. And we're going to pop this bit on here like so. So I'm just going to stay with my tacky glue for this one for now, seeing as I've got that one out. Add a little bit behind here. Not going too close to the edges, just in case I want to add anything underneath it. And I'm just going to pop that one and nestle it inside that first piece of paper. So that's the beginnings of my tag there. And then I'm just going to bring in my, this is actually a tracing wheel, which is a soft craft tool, but I just want to go just gently around the edge of this tag, just to add, and it's very, very subtle, but it just adds a little tiny bit of piercing. Again, another detail, another layer, and I'm just going to go around those straight edge sides and then just sort of lift those a little bit to create that sort of distressed edge again. So all the way down here, that's why I didn't put the glue right to the edge. I'm just going to pop that up slightly so that there's a little bit of dimension going on there. So that's how far we've got so far. And then we need to start thinking about how we're going to decorate the top. So I've got my little pot of goodies again, and I'm going to take the first elements out of here. And I've got a piece of lace, patterned lace. So this is going to start introducing the different mediums. I've got a scrap of printed tag that I've just stamped out with a little bit of Victorian velvet ink, which is another colour that we're actually going to incorporate in the design. So I want to start bringing this on that horizontal again to complement that vertical design. I don't need it to come as far out as this. I want it to stop within the tag. So I'm just going to tear this again, take that edge off it, save that bit for another day. That will come in handy for something else. And then I'm just going to use my applicator that's got the Victorian velvet ink on to just go over that edge. So this is going to be our first layer, like so. But just before I lay that down, I want to add the lace underneath the edge here. So what I'm going to do is pop a little bit. My glue should be warmed up now. I'm just going to go along the bottom of here with that hot glue. Take that pesky bit out. I don't know where that came from. And then I want to just pop the glue, the lace, tack it underneath until I've got it in the right place. That looks fine. And then just be aware that this is actually hot glue, so be careful if you're using the hot glue tool there. And then this is going to lay onto our piece here. Now, just because there's a difference in height now from the lace to the actual paper, I can see I've actually got some sort of gap here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a little bit of that offcut of the grey board that I cut my tag out from and pop this behind as a support. So it's a great way of using up all those little pieces. We're just going to pop this behind here just to support that area. So again, just a bit of that tacky glue, and I'm just going to pop that behind here. And again, I've not gone all the way to the edge just in case I want to slot anything behind here, but now that's a little bit more balanced to fit on my design. And then I've got a scrap of book paper again that I've just torn and inked with the brown, with the vintage photo, and this is going to run. So we've got that vertical and horizontal design coming together again. So I'm going to flick back to my hot glue now because I want this one to stick with the lace and the board, and just pop a couple of bits here in the back. It doesn't need a lot on. And then I'm going to pop this one in position. So I want it sort of towards the top, but not right at the top. And I'll pop that one in the middle like so. And then because this is a little bit thinner, I'm just going to keep flitting between my tacky glue and the hot glue, depending on what I'm actually adhering there. So I'm just going to get the tweezers for that bit so that I can position it, and then I want that one to run in line with those vertical elements again. So I'm not too worried about this going over the depth because again we're going to add a lot more to the front of the tag here. Now what I will do next, just while I think about it, is we have covered up the hole on the tag here, so I'm just going to take my crocodile here, which has actually got a little bit in the gap there. Let's get rid of that bit. And then I'm just going to reinforce that hole from the back. I'm going to use this one as a guideline and just redo that one like so. And then while I've got that handy, in my little tub here, I've got the little ring reinforcer die cut ready. And again, I've just added the ink. Most of the paper elements have got the ink on so that it just blends everything together. And then we can actually pop that one over the little tag there, just to add and strengthen it, ready for receiving the ribbon when we've finished there. So that's where we've got to so far. If I bring this one back in, you can see we've got that little bit of book paper running down the back. I've got the tag poking out underneath. I've got a little bit of the lace in here. And then we're going to start building this little sort of collage of flowers and things in the front. So most of this will be done with my hot glue now. And I've got a selection of bits and pieces. I've got some paper flowers out of my stash. So these are actually Prima flowers. I've got some little paper roses there. And I've also got some die cut flowers as well. So just added a few where I'd got the gaps. Couple of little embellishments here. I've got the clock. You know how much I love my numbers and the clocks and things. I've got my metal embellishment. I've got some little die cut leaves at the ready. I've got a little heart embellishment to finish it off, and I've also got a sentiment there. So that's my little collection of goodies to go on the top, and we may add some other bits and pieces along the way. So there are some things I'm going to pop down first and then build the rest of it on the top there. So I'm going to position the clock first and have this up at the top, making sure it's the right way, like so. And again, I've got a little bit of a dip under the back there. So I'm just going to take a tiny piece of that grey board again. It doesn't have to be much, and it's just the right depth to pop underneath there and give that a little bit of support so that it doesn't dip there. So I'm just going to hold that edge with my tweezers, add a bit of the tacky glue there, and then just slide this one sort of in that corner here for the clock to rest on and provide that little bit of support. So again, we can stay. This one's not a heavy element and it is flat as well. So I'm just going to add some beads of tacky glue, and then we can pop this one in position as well. So make sure it's reading the right way. We've got that element there to help support it behind there. And then I've also got a little heart here as well, which is just again the grey board cut out with some paper over the top. And we're going to put that one in the back as well. Now that one is a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, so I'm going to use the hot glue for this one. So anything that's a little bit sort of heavier weight, or it's going to be sort of nestled together as part of the cluster, I'm going to use the hot glue for. So that one's going to come down sort of between the paper and the lace there. And then I also want to bring in some of these flowers. So I'm going to start with that big paper flower there. And this one's going to be sort of the main image of the flowers. And then I'm going to bring in one of those little paper flowers at the top here. But just before I pop that one down, I want to add some flowers in the back there. Oops. So again, some flowers, they're not flowers, Jan, they're leaves, okay? And the other thing that I'm going to squeeze into the back there, I've got a piece of cheesecloth here. And again, just little snippets of it. I only need a little tiny piece. And I'm just going to take little snippets off here to tuck in. So we'll cut maybe 3 pieces of that, I think. And again, I can tuck this in as I go along in my design. So I just want a little bit poking out of the top there. It all goes towards that sort of balance and theme. We're going to put that bit in the top there, and then I'll come back to those leaves. So just give those a bit of a shape. And again, I'm just going to put hot glue right on the bottom edge there, and then I'm just going to pop those into the back here, ready to place the flowers. So that one can go in there like so. The cheesecloth I'm going to secure with the flowers, so I've not actually popped that bit down yet. The flowers will hold that in place. And I've got one of those little paper flowers that I'm just going to tuck under there like so. And then I also want that little paper rose there. And we're going to nestle that one in the back as well. So all these sort of bit more dimensional aspects I'm putting on with the hot glue. So that one's going to go and nestle in there like so. So we've got the leaves in the back there. And then I'm going to work my way down. So I'm going to use the other paper flower. And again, I want to add another set of leaves in the side of this one, just to pop out at that side. And then that third paper flower is going to nestle in alongside this one. So again, you can overlap some of them, just sort of nudge them up together. And then the pink one. And just work my way down that tag. Like so. Just again lift up some of the petals so that they all kind of cluster together. Hold them in place. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of twine as well. So I've got some cream twine, which again is also in keeping with the theme. And what I want to do with that one is just tie a little bow here. And we're going to insert that into that cluster as well. So again, it doesn't need to be too big. You can adjust that as we go along. That looks good. And then I want to bring this all together. Pop the tiniest bit of glue just over where I've tied the knot. And then this one is going to tuck underneath the edge of here. So I'm just going to pop it in with the glue. And then just spread those little bows out to add some extra texture there. So we're still building up those mediums, and then we can trim the edges when we finish with the design. So I've got the little paper flowers left, and I've got the element here. I'm going to tuck the little bird cage under the bottom like so. So I think what I'll do with that one is actually we'll add a little bit more of the cheesecloth in, I think, as well. So I'm just going to put a little tiny bit, snip that one in half. It doesn't need much of this. And this is readily available. I bought mine off the internet again. So again, I'm just going to pop a little bit under here so that we can build it into the design at the bottom. And I'm also going to pop a little bit in this side here to build it into that part. So again, I'm going to pop some glue right underneath here. Just pop one little blob of glue down there. Oops. And then I'm going to pop, don't burn yourself with the glue, Jan. Right, where did my, I've just stuck the bit of cheesecloth to me now. So we'll pop this one in first. This can go under here, like so. And then I can pop the cheesecloth, is going to go back, and there's another flower to go in there to secure that bit. So we're going to use the largest one of those paper flowers and nestle that one in here, and that's going to secure that piece of cheesecloth there. I'm going to use the middle one of those paper flowers and just filled in, there seems as if there's a little gap just there. And then the little tiny one, so I've just done a set of 3 of those. Again, I'm just going to bring this one a little bit further down here so that we've got that nice pattern going on. I've got a spare little tiny leaf there, which I can pop in the gap just there. Just tuck that one in underneath. There, and then I think I'll go with a little bit more of this. So it's just about tucking bits in places, and I'm going to pop a tiny bit of glue down in the gap there, and then just nestle this bit in here. So again, just pop it in, let that glue grab it, and you've got that little bit of extra texture again in there. Okay, and then I've got a tiny little heart which we're going to bring down at the bottom here just to echo the one that we've put in here. So that one's going to go down here, and then I've got my sentiment here at the ready, which again I think I'm going to slot in here. So again, it just needs a bit of glue on that side. And then if I grab that with my tweezers, that can just slot in, just so that we can read it here. And that one says Sweet Life. Okay. So a couple more bits to do. I've also got a die set with some leaves in. And I'm just going to cut one of these to go, I think I've got some spare, yeah, I've got some spare creams cardstock here. So I just want to cut a couple of these out just to add a bit more detail into that design. So I'm going to grab my little Gemini mini here, perfect for the job. Bring these into play. Excuse my plates, I've just ordered some more plates, some more folders for this actually, because this one's getting very well loved. So we're going to pop those out. And then I'm also going to just recut it again so that I've got plenty to play with. And pop that one through again. And then I'm going to add a little bit of ink to these as well. So we'll just pop that one down there out of the way. And take that one out. Trying to get out already, there we go. And these are actually a John Next Door die. I've had this one in my stash for a while. These are starflower leaves, and you get two little dies in there. So I like these ones. I like the shape of them for just adding in for this kind of element here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring that mat in again just to protect my desk surface, and I just want to add a tiny little bit of ink again just to help take away some of that stark colour. You can see the difference in those there now, just to tone them down a little bit, and so that they all fit in with the design there. There we go. And then I'm going to snip into these. I don't need them whole. I'm actually going to take pieces out of them. So I'm going to take the top piece off here and bring this in down this side here. And again, I'm just going to flip back to that. I don't need the hot glue for this, and I don't need a lot of glue. I just want a bit on the bottom here. Just lift up this edge here and slot those right underneath into that gap, and you can see how this sort of starts to fill out the design. So I'm just going to get my pokey tool there and actually push that down inside there. I think we can probably get away with some and again just snip them down. This is all I do with them. I'm going to pop a set up at the top there. So again, I'm just adding a little bit of glue here at the bottom. And again, I'm just going to tuck it in, poke it in with my pokey tool, and that glue will just grab. So we definitely need a little bit of something in there. So again, I'm going to snip out that larger piece and the smaller piece again. So that one's definitely going to fit nicely under there, and you can just see where these slot in now just to fill out that cluster of detail. So again, just lift it, pop that underneath, and I'm just going to give it a press down with the tool. And then finally, I think we'll bring a little bit down to the bottom as well down here. So that one can tuck in that edge. And pop that one underneath at the bottom there. So that one's just going to go under that edge there into the gap. Again, I'm going to use the pokey tool just to get it right underneath and let that glue do its job. And I think it's looking pretty good there now. So we've got a lot of detail going on there. If I bring in the one that I did before, The only thing I've added to this is some pearl detail. You know that my projects aren't finished without any bling. So I've added a little bit of pearl detail in places. I've got some flat back pearls and some little curly bits. And then I've also added, I've got some mixed media little art stones, and they're just like little tiny, almost like little polystyrene balls. If I just pop some in there, you can see them a bit better. Great for adding texture to your project. So all I've done with those is added some wet glue in certain places. You can see them here. Just again, tuck them into those little edges where there is a bit of a gap, just to add the detail in there. Okay, and then finally I did exactly the same with the second tag, and I've got that one here. So this is the next size down. I've added the same papers in the background, the same kind of collage element, had a little butterfly sticker which just lent itself for going in there, and then a few of the pearls again. And you can see where I've left quite a significant gap at the top here, because what I wanted to do was actually put these together, line up the holes underneath, and then all I've done is pop a nice little bit of organza ribbon through the top here. And again, if I bring you this one in that's already complete, you can see there they just nestle nicely together, and they're going to sit on top of each other like so. So that's my tag complete, my shabby chic tag. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Like I said, there is going to be a follow-up tutorial to this to show you or I'll give you an example of how to use the tag. I'm going to do create a piece of home decor to actually sit this in so that we can display it nicely. So yeah, that's my tutorial for today. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel if you haven't done already. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Bye bye now.